Welcome to Sunshine Art and Drawing. Today I'm just going to be doing a bit of a haul of some things that I've just bought. I thought it might be a bit of a fun one. I've just come home from the shopping, so I thought I would hop right into it. So the two places that I went, I'll try not to rattle the bag while I'm talking, is I went to Lincraft, which is a craft and sewing haberdashery type store. I guess it would be similar to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's in America. And the other place I went was a small, I guess I would call it like a Japanese dollar store. Sort of hard to describe. We've got a couple of these popping up in South Australia where I live, where they're mostly products from China and Japan, and they're all priced very similarly. So you walk in and everything is a certain price. So where I went, I think everything was $3. So unless it's marked at a higher price, everything is just about the same price. So you can kind of calculate how much something's going to be. So let me pull some of this stuff out. It might be a bit rattly. Okay, just a second. Let's put my receipts to the side. And we'll try and pile everything up a bit. So of course, I got some marshmallows. Who can resist some nice marshmallows? So I will have them as a treat later. And so this guy, this guy, this guy, this, and that. They're all from the same place. This guy and this guy. So I got this Manjula book. Got a bit dented on the way home, but we'll flatten her out. And this is a really thick book, and in there is just hundreds of colour by numbers and mandalas. So I thought this might be really fun just to kind of do different videos with and colour in my spare time. I do like colour by numbers, they're pretty fun. So this is a battery powered eraser for doing really fine work, and then this is a thing of all the refills. So once you use it up, you can refill it. And it even came with the like more scratchier ones that are better for like either hard, like really hard graphite, or for things like maybe light pen would probably work. Now, I'm pretty sure I have batteries that would probably fit this. It feels quite heavy, like there's batteries in it. Well, let's give this a whirl, it might be fun. See if it works. So it's got this little like pink thing. Slide it out. So obviously it's got no batteries in it. Batteries! Yay! So let's get a couple of AAA batteries and we'll see if she wants to work. So the first thing is to pop one in this way. And to pop one in that way. And then to put all this girl back together. Yep, like so. That makes more sense. And then this guy, just on top. Aha! Can you hear that? Might turn on autofocus so you can see, possibly here. So it's got like a little motor in it which makes this bit spin, and that way you can do very, very detailed erasing. I thought it might become something quite simple that I could use for that sort of thing. And then it's got like a removable thing there, and then once you've worn it out you use these guys, and that box I assume is to hold the spare ones while you're not using them. Quite handy. And it's even the one for the one pictured on the back, so that's also good. So we've got that done. Load of pencils. Just any. There you go. H. Beautiful. Try and go over here, sort of where it's not too wet. So say for example you want to do some detailed erasing, that's what this is for. So you can, I can get him in the right spot. Actually, that would probably be better. See that? It allows you to erase very detailed wherever you want. So say if I really wanted to erase that line, I can aim directly for that line. It allows you to erase in tiny spots. I assume it's probably going to allow you to erase coloured pencil too, if the coloured pencils are kind of erasable. But yeah, eraser works fine, no issues there. It's always good to see. Pointing down. So this is pretty much what the other one will be like. So it's like you can do like a thick line, you can do very fine lines, you can do thick to thin. You can do, it seems like you can do dark, quite dark, and then you can press quite softly, and it does a lighter color. That's quite pretty. So that is this one here is by Marvy. It seems to be a very, very similar brand, this Marvy brand, to Copic. They had Copic looking markers. They're about $11 a marker because they're really expensive in Australia. That's why I don't have a set of Copics, because I can't afford $11 a marker. Like in America, it's like $6 a marker, but by the time it gets changed over into Australian, we pay $10, $11 a marker. So it does get really expensive. So that one works perfectly good. Let's try. So let's just grab a spare pad of that. I want to open some of these up and have a look. It's always fun to open things up when you've purchased them straight away. Here we go. So this is the Japanese brush pen. It's got a really pretty design on it. So you go take your little guy, and the way these work is they've got a tiny ball bearing in the tip. This might be constantly trying to focus, which it likes to do. So it's got a little ball bearing in the tip, but when you push it in, that ball bearing goes in here, but the ink is allowed through. So that probably comes off. See, it's like a felty kind of tip, and that would come out, and then that hooks into this part of here. So you've got to be a bit violent. I think it's just going to take a while for the ink to run down to the end. So let us, there we go. Let's put him that way. I might just lean it up against this marshmallow bucket just so it's at an angle. Let's see. Ah, that's looking better. Aha. Okay. It's a much darker ink than that one. That's quite nice. That is very pretty. It's got like a glittery part there. I don't know if you can pick that up in the light. It's very beautiful. These look like fun. Now, if I get ink all over me, excuse the ink, because a lot of the time I have found that ink likes to make a mess. So let's take this bit off first. So we've got the end piece. Oh, that's quite cool looking. And it's the same sort of idea. So you get this bit and the ball bearing, and you jam the ball bearing part into this part as hard as you can. It should click, and then you'll feel the ball bearing is loose, if you can hear that. And then put it all back together. So that part goes in there, screws back on. This guy goes on top. So we'll do the same for that. Just let them run down for a bit so the ink can run to the tip. And this is the third one. Ooh, see, this is the blue ink. I saw this, I thought, if I got myself a really pretty ink, maybe I'll write more. Oh, this is heavy, it's metal. I wasn't expecting it to be so. Oh, that's very pretty. Like this, how is that possible? This is only like $3, and it's a metal pen. That should unscrew like the other ones did. And then, unless that unscrews, no. And then same sort of idea, but these little cartridges are very, very similar to ones I already have. I want to see if they are the same before I punch it. This is a, look at this, see? Yeah, they're the same size, so I can use standard refills in there, that's handy. So this goes in here, and then again, you've got to push the little ball into the ink. It's so weighty, like it's got a good weight to it. There we go. The lid on. I'm going to do the same thing, so sit that on an angle, and we'll try that first one that's sat for a minute. Yeah, sit. Good. So I've got two brush pens. One sort of fine and one a bit thicker. And these two guys, let's see if these want to work. So these are nib pens. Let's have a look at this guy. This one size 11. Sometimes it takes a bit to get the ink moving in a pen like this. That's why I let them sort of lean in a slight angle. Let's try this one. Aha, look at that. That one works well. Oh, that's very pretty. So if you wanted, it's very heavy too, which I really, really like. So that's very pretty. So that one works well. I wasn't expecting it to be metal. I'm just surprised. It's really nice. And it's got flat bottoms, so it won't scratch and all that sort of thing. Let's see if this Riviera one wants to work yet. Alright. It's possible that I haven't pushed this end piece in far enough. Sometimes that's what happens. So sometimes it gives good to give a bit of a squeeze just for the ink moving, if you can. Is that ink moving at all? Just bounce it on there lightly. It does take sometimes a bit to get the ink moving. Do that nicely. Make sure it's well in. Another thing as well with fountain pens sometimes is the tip or the nib of it will have a little bit of some sort of, how do you explain it? It's like a coating on the metal to stop rusting, and that coating is a waterproofer, and the ink is also repelled by it. So you can find something that you're not going to destroy your fingers on, like a receipt. You can sometimes pull, yeah, there we go, it's starting to move across there to start it. There we go. So if you pull down across the front of it, you're actually drawing ink down. So this is, oh, it's very fine, this one. There we go. Good afternoon. Sunshine. That's really pretty. So we have two lovely nib pens, and I got two beautiful brush pens. We have our little eraser guy and our little set of erasers. I might just keep that in the packet until I have to open it, because I feel like they're just going to go everywhere. Yeah. Aqua brush. Unscrew from barrel, fill from tap. Cap. Just hold the empty brush in the barrel and dry the tip and replace the cap. Pretty much like any other one. It's a nice big size. This is what I was looking at, and it was like quite large. You could fit a lot of water in here. I wonder if I can just quickly see if I can fill it in here. Beautiful. But yeah, so that works really well. I'm quite happy with that. That is exactly what I wanted. The previous ones I had, let me just push some of that water out just to keep it clean. The previous one I had, the sponge in the end wore out, so it just, the water would just run straight through the tip, and that's a problem if you're trying to use it for anything in particular. And then this was just a set of round brushes, and because it had some small ones, I don't have many in this middle range of like 6, 8, and 10. I have a 12, and I know I have a 2. It says it's an O, but that looks like a 2. But I didn't have any sort of 6 and 8 and 12 round brushes, so I thought, why not? They're supposed to be, they're horse bristle, which is pony, which is exactly what you want for watercolour. So let's pull all these guys out, and we will get these tubes off. And the first thing you need to do with new brushes, get the tubes off straight away, place them in water, like so, give them a quick rinse in the water. Yeah, these are just a set of cheap brushes. That's all I wanted them for, was some more watercolour brushes. I never have too few watercolour brushes. But yeah, they hold a lot of water. They're quite nice. They're really not trying to be anything that they're not. Get a bit of purple, do a bit of purple, why not? As you can see, lovely. Yeah, they're pretty standard watercolour brushes. But yep, having a nice set of middle range sized ones is always handy. So they're all kind of middle of the range sizes. Beautiful. So, all in all, I think I did pretty well. Let me get rid of a bit of this rubbish because I have so much. But I think I did pretty good. This guy, and there's all these tubes, which you don't need. I know it's tempting, but unless you're traveling with a brush, you don't need to put these tubes back on. First, you'll probably push all the hairs down because there's no starch to hold them up. And the other part is that the brush itself, the glue will wear down if there's water in contact with it constantly, and if it can't dry properly, like these brushes will need to dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I have the cup here, I'm just going to balance them on top of it, which is normally what I do when I'm trying to dry some brushes. Just balance them on top and they'll dry. But yeah, as you can see, a pretty fun haul. But I'm quite excited about it because I think it's going to turn out really nice. I wonder if this ink is waterproof. So that ink is definitely not waterproof. Right, what about this blue? Nope, not waterproof. What about these blacks? That black is pretty waterproof. And this other blacks. Ah, hey. Hey now. We have some waterproof black, which is always nice. So these two guys, the two brush pens, look like they're waterproof. That is good to know. Always good to test. But you never really expect fountain pens to be waterproof. I'm not really entirely sure why, but the ink they use needs to be able to flow, and waterproof ink dries really, really tough, so it doesn't flow through properly. So, I hope you really enjoyed that haul, and thanks so much for watching. Have a sunshiny day.